Hello everyone, welcome back to Andrina's Creation. In today's video, you're going to watch me work on some canvases. I'll be using Silhouette Studio, but you can use any software of your choice. It doesn't matter if you have Microsoft Word, Photoshop, Cricut, it's totally up to you. I am going to be using Silhouette Business Edition. I have a separate tutorial on how to do canvases using vinyl, but today I'm not going to be using vinyl. I'm going to be using iron-on. When you use Silhouette Studio, you need to make sure you change the paper size. So when you go to your first icon, which is the paper, I'm going to be changing my paper size to 8 by 11 because that is the size of iron-on paper that I'm going to be using. After that, I'm going to go to Google or Bing and I'm going to search for the coloring pages that I want to use. And the only thing I'm going to do is I am going to copy, and then I'm going to Silhouette, and then I'm going to paste. And this is how I'm going to bring in all the images that I want to use. You are going to size your images to the canvases that you are going to be using. I am going to be using 8 by 10 canvas. All you have to do is click on the image, and then while it's selected, you go on the top where it says width and height, and you're going to change the measurements. For me, I'm using 7.75 by 7.75. That is the measurements that I'm going to be using. You do not need to use those specific measurements. You can use the measurements of your choice. I highly recommend, and I always say this, when you are trying something new, please buy more of the items so you can go ahead and practice and see what works for you. For instance, for me, I needed to do 24 canvases, but I still bought an extra pack. So I know the size that I wanted to do and the heat temperature that I was going to use and the pressure. So if by any means I mess up any canvases, I had extra. And again, I am using Silhouette Studio Business Edition. I do have a lot of tutorials using this software. The good thing about this software is that you do not need a cutting machine to use this software, and I highly recommend it. Check down below. I also have a link on how to download the software for free. And here, you don't even need a cutting machine while doing these canvases. You're going to cut everything by hand. So again, I'll be having more tutorials for you guys using Silhouette Studio, so stay tuned. Okay, now you're going to see me that with this image, I'm actually going to add a white rectangle behind it. So I went to my left, grabbed a rectangle shaped, and then I put it on my screen. I colored it white to the size that I want it. I'm going to type in here because I want this image to have woody and some words, and I'm going to show you how you type. So you just click on the A on your left, then you click on the A on your right, and then you select the font that you would like to use. You can download free fonts from thefont.com, or you could go to any other websites like Creative Fabrica and stuff like that. I'll have all those links down below. Then you're going to click on your screen and you are going to start typing anything that you want it to say. Now, this next step that I'm going to do, you need to make sure that you select the font that you are going to really want, because after you ungroup it, you can no longer change the font. So what I did was I clicked on the words, I right clicked and ungrouped so everything could get separated. And now I only selected the word to, grouped it together. Then I'm going to select the entire word that says infinity and group it together, and then the word and beyond and group it together. But before you ungroup anything, please make sure that you do select the fonts that you really want to use. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to do an internal offset inside of my words so they are able to color inside, and you're going to see what I mean. So here I'm placing the words where I want them to go, and then I am going to select the word, any word, and then I'm going to go to my offset icon, the one that looks like a double star. Then I am going to click on internal offset. Once I click on internal offset, I am going to select the distance that I want it to be. And basically, I think I use 0.030. and then I'm going to color it so you can see it here on the screen. After I like the internal offset, how it looks, I'm going to hold down my shift key, hold down the internal offset, hold down the actual word, go to my modify icon and click subtract all. Once I click on subtract all, I am going to click just on the red internal offset and click delete on my keyboard. And now I'm going to be left like this. And then this is how I want it to be so they can color inside. And I'm going to continue to do this with all the words. Once I'm done, I'm going to click somewhere on my screen, drag my mouse, select everything, and group this entire image together. And now I'm done. Now I have all the images that I want to print. Now, all you have to do is select an image. You're going to go to your transform panel and then click on center so it can be centered inside of your canvas, like basically your 8x11 paper that you have on your mat. After you have everything centered where you want it to go, then you're going to go up to your printer icon. On your printer icon, you also need to make sure that you select the printer that you're going to be using. I have an EcoTank 16600. Then I'm going to click on preferences. I'm going to select that I'm going to be printing from the back. Paper tray, and then select 8x11. And then my paper type, I like to print on premium presentation paper matte. I'm going to click on OK and print. After I do that, I click on the other image, click on center, and then go to the printer icon and print. So I'm going to be printing two papers out of each image here, so basically 24 images. Once I'm done doing all that, we're going to come right back, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to iron all this on the canvases. Here I'm showing you the canvases that I'm using. They're 8x10. I got it from Michaels. And also here I'm going to be using parchment sheets. I got it from Amazon. I'll leave the link down below. I'm going to be using dark iron-on paper brand 3G Jet Opaque. I'm also going to leave all the links that I'm using. I'll leave it down below. I'm also going to be using a Teflon sheet to protect the images. And then for behind the canvas, I'm going to be using a piece of foam. You can use anything of your choice, but this is what I had in hand. So I just cut a piece out to fit behind my canvas. And that is what I'm going to add behind it. So when I go ahead and press on the heat press, there's something in the middle. Once I printed out the images, I am going to cut off all the extra white paper off the image. I don't want all that extra, and it's less paper to iron on the canvas. So I'm going to do this with all the images. Once I do this, I am going to remove the backing off the paper. So remember, when you are using paper for dark transfers, you first have to remove the back layer of paper before you iron it on. If you're using light iron-on paper, you do not need to do this step because after you iron it, that's when you remove the paper. So remember, that's the difference. So here I already have the foam behind the canvas. I am going to preheat the canvas. That's why you see me here putting the parchment paper and the Teflon sheet. I'm going to press it for a couple of seconds, maybe like 2 seconds. I have my heat press on 350 Fahrenheit, and when I iron the image, I'm only going to press it for 10 seconds. Now you are going to see what works for you. Every heat press is not the same. Every paper is not the same. This is the reason why I said go ahead and buy extra canvases and whatever paper you're going to be using, so you can go ahead and try it out for yourself. Here you're going to see me placing the image on there exactly where I want it, because remember, I already pressed it for a little bit, like I already preheated the canvas. It's already getting stuck there because it's already hot. I'm going to try to smooth it out as much as I can. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the parchment paper on top again, put the Teflon sheet, and press for 10 seconds. If you are brand new to heat pressing, the reason why I add parchment paper is because it protects the image. So anything that's going to come off the image is going to get stuck on the parchment paper and not on the heat press. And then I also like to add Teflon sheet for more protection for the image from the canvas to the heat press, if that makes any sense. So the parchment paper protects, plus the Teflon sheet also protects. Again, I am going to be ironing for 300 on 350 for 10 seconds. After I do this, I'm going to remove the Teflon sheet. I'm going to remove the parchment paper. Now, on some areas, it might be kind of wrinkly, so I'm going to hurry up and quickly rub it with the parchment paper to take off the wrinkles. Now, again, be very careful because this is very hot. Now, I'm already used to the heat, so I'm just smoothing out all the wrinkles. So before it cools off completely, there is no wrinkles on my image. And you're going to see me do this with almost all the images that come out with a wrinkle. I do it very quickly while it's still very hot. Again, don't forget to preheat your canvas for like 2 seconds. Protect your canvas. Also, when preheating, after you preheat, you're going to add your image and you're going to repeat the same steps I did as the first one. All right, now we are going to get ready to start designing the watercolor package. You first need to measure whatever watercolor packet you purchase. Now, I do have a tutorial specifically on how to customize the ones from Dollar Tree, and I do give you the measurements for those. I have a tutorial using Silhouette Studio and a tutorial using Microsoft Word. Here you see me measuring these. And then I am going to go to Google or Bing and save all my backgrounds and all my PNG images. PNG images mean that they have a transparent background. I also went and got my original background that I want to use, and I just right click copy and then go into Silhouette and paste. My PNG images, you can tell they are a PNG image if they have a white and gray rectangles behind it. Those you have to right click and save into your computer. Once you save it, you go to file and merge, or you could go to quick access and bring it in that way. So I went ahead and saved everything that I wanted to use, and then I went to font generator, Toy Story font generator, because I am going to want some words to look like the Toy Story font. So I went to Toy Story font generator, and then I typed to infinity, and then I'm using the website font meme as you see there. Then I typed to infinity, then I click on generate, and then I save the PNG into my computer. Then I use my quick access just to drag in my PNG into Silhouette. Once I do all that, then I'm going to start designing. When you bring in PNG images into Silhouette Studio, if you have version 4.4, everything automatically gets traced. So you're going to see a red outline around it. So you see me click on the image and then went to my outline color and click on no color to remove that red outline. Now I am going to go to my shapes on my left. I'm going to pick the round corner rectangle, and I'm going to make any size on my screen, and then I am going to go ahead and size it. So I'm going to give you the measurements that I'm going to be using for this one, but again, if you use any other kind, you need to measure it yourself. So for my width, I'm using 1.875, and for my height, I'm using 8.35. I am then going to crop the background inside this shape. So I'm just placing the image, I right click and send it to the back so I can see my template that I created. Then I'm going to click somewhere on my screen and drag my mouse to select both my background and my shape. I'm going to go to my modify panel and crop. Once I do that, I am then going to click on my shape, go to my fill icon that looks like the paint palette. I'm going to click on the third option, that's the pattern, and click on advanced option. And all the way down it says scale. I'm going to scale it down so I can see more of my background inside of my shape. Just in case you are practicing and you want to design your watercolors just like I'm designing mine, I'm going to provide you with the other measurements. So I use another rounded rectangle shape, and then the measurements for that one, I am going to use 0.944 in width and 4.633 in height. And this is where I'm going to put the oval shades of the watercolor ovals, which you'll see. And now went back to my left, grab the oval shape, and I'm going to make an oval shape of the size of 0.817 in width, and in the height I'm going to type 0.529, and that is the oval shape that I'm going to use. So now I'm going to grab that watercolor palette that I got from Google, and I'm going to right click and duplicate it, and then I am going to make one of them very small so it can kind of be the same size of the oval that I created, and I'm going to continue to put it smaller so everything fits perfectly. And then I'm going to put that oval shape in front of the colors that I want to crop. Now I am going to right click and duplicate on all the colors that I want, and you'll see me here doing it. So I'm just going to right click and duplicate and put the oval in front of the color that I want. And then after I put the ovals in front of each color that I want, I'm going to click somewhere on my screen, drag my mouse to select everything, go to my modify panel and crop. And then I'm going to put them in the order that I want them to be inside of the white oval rectangle. And then after I do that, I'm going to group everything together and add this white shape with all the watercolor colors inside in the middle of the cloud background. Now I am going to start assembling the word to and infinity, the one that we got from the font generator. This is a PNG image, but if you break a PNG image, you can actually move it around as you see me here. So what I did was the letter T and the letter W was stuck together. So all I did was I grabbed the knife tool and cut the T and the W off from each other. So then when I did that, the PNG was broken apart. And now you'll see me moving all the letters how I want. I'm moving some up, I'm moving some down, I'm tilting some to the side, I'm moving some to the front, moving some to the back. You see here that the T and the Y is stuck together, so I'm just using the knife and cutting it so then they're able to move by itself. Now you might get confused like, hey, I thought this was an image. How did you get it to cut like that? Because it's just letters. Once you cut one off, all of them are going to be moving. So here you see me moving the word to the front and then the word infinity in the bottom. I grouped it together. Then I'm just putting a red rectangle in front of that shape. And I'm going to put it behind the word to and infinity. I'm going to size it to what I want. Then I'm going to click on the letter A on my left, letter A on my right, and select the font that I want to use, color it the color that I want, and just there you go. That's how I created that. Then I'm going to add all the images where I want them to be. Once I like how everything looks, I am going to group everything together and bring it on over to my mat before I print. I'm going to do the same thing with that paint palette PNG image. If you look at it closely, it is like two separate images. It's the brush and the paint palette. I want to grab the eraser tool and just erase a little bit off the corner, and it automatically releases both images. So now I have the brush by itself, and I'm going to be able to use the brush without the paint palette. So I'm just going to rotate it the way I want it to be, and then size it the size I want, and just add it there to my image that I'm designing. All right, now, so I am going to be using 11 by 17 size of paper. I need to change my mat to that size or my paper design to that size. So I'm going to go to my first icon, which is the paper icon. Where it says cutting mat, I'm going to click on 12 by 24. Where it says media size, I'm going to click on custom, and then I'm going to change my width and height to 11 by 17. Then when I go click on my printer icon, I also need to select the printer I'm going to be using. Click paper tray from the back and also select paper size 11 by 17 because that's what I'm going to be using. If you do not have a wide format printer, you can still print on 8 by 11 paper. Just make sure that you put your media size to 8 by 11 and your printer preferences to 8 by 11. All right. So once I do all that, now we are going to start putting everything together. So these are the watercolors that I'm going to be using and the paper that I'm going to be using. I'll leave the link down below as well of everything here that I'm using. And then you're going to remove the original packaging and then put your packaging inside. All right, guys, here it is. Here's how everything turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Here's how the canvases turned out, and here's how the watercolor packaging turned out. Do not leave yet, because I am going to show you how I'm actually going to package them up as well. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I upload new videos. I know some people might ask also, does the watercolor actually work because I use iron-on? So here I'm demonstrating to you watercolor works, markers work, crayons, and color pencils. So here we are demonstrating to you that yes, you are able to use anything of your choice to provide them for your parties. All right, so now I'm going to start packaging these canvas paint kits. I'm going to be adding an apron. I got the aprons from Amazon. Also, if you purchase anything from my Amazon link, I do earn a small commission. So thank you very much for all those that do buy through my Amazon link. Even though I don't have some items on my list, just feel free to do your regular Amazon search. And as long as you're using my Amazon link, I still do earn a small commission. Again, thank you very much. So again, I'm using these aprons from Amazon. The cellophane bags I also got from Amazon. These sizes are 11 by 14. And I'll also leave everything linked down below. So I'm adding the apron in the back, then the canvas in the front, and then the watercolor on the side. So that's what you're going to see me here package everything up. Again, I want to say thank you so much for all my new subscribers. We have reached 54K. Thank you so much. If you don't know, I am on the road to 100K subscribers. I really appreciate all your support. If you are new here, this is your first time watching me, please don't forget to subscribe and share. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to please give me a big thumbs up. If you are not in my Facebook crafting group, it is called Andrina's Creations Crafting Lounge. I would love to see you over there. Sometimes you'll see me over there more than you see me here on YouTube. And we do answer all your questions there. Feel free to post all your work and ask questions and all that good stuff. All right, guys? So I hope everyone's having a blessed day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.